Mexico is a country with a rich past. The beliefs of the Maya, Nahua, Purépecha and other indigenous groups, combined with the Catholic beliefs of the Spanish, created a culture in which supernatural beliefs are a super important factor. Before the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors in the early 16th century, this country was already home to various civilizations, including the Aztecs, Mayas, and many others. They had their own rich traditions and folklore. When the Spanish conquistadors brought Catholicism into Mexico, it got mixed with the indigenous beliefs, creating a unique blend of indigenous and European folklore. Today, we will find out more about the superstitions and ghosts in Mexico, but before we start, I want to ask you to subscribe to the channel. This helps our channel to grow and make more videos. Thank you. Welcome to the Glymp. The Mayans, who existed for thousands of years in what is now known as Mexico, had a very complex belief system. It included different aspects of spirituality, cosmology, and interactions with the spirit world. For example, they believed in the existence of ancestral spirits, and honoring the deceased ancestors was an important aspect of their religion. Ancestors were thought to continue to play a role in the lives of the living, offering guidance and protection. They also believed in an underworld, known as Xibalba, a realm inhabited by spirits, gods, and demons. Whenever a person died, it was believed that their soul went to Xibalba, where the soul would face different trials and challenges. Offerings and rituals were necessary to ensure a safe passage for the deceased through the dangerous journey in the underworld. These rituals often involved the burial of the deceased with grave goods, food, and the construction of tombs. Sometimes, the spirits of the deceased could return to the world of the living. They might appear in dreams, visions, or as ghostly entities. A lot of times they were seen as messengers or as omens, giving warnings, or guidance to the living. Shamans and ritual specialists played a crucial role in this, as they were able to mediate between the living and the dead. The Aztecs, who thrived in Mesoamerica from the 14th to the 16th century, also had a complex belief system. While their worldview was influenced by their polytheistic religion, meaning that they believed in more than only one god, and cosmology, their beliefs about ghosts, spirits, and the afterlife were interconnected with these spiritual concepts. The Aztecs believed in multiple realms within the afterlife, and when a person passes, determined on the quality of their actions in life, and circumstances of their death, they were thought to go to one place or another. Honorable deaths, such as those in battle or childbirth, were thought to lead to a better afterlife. Just like the Mayans, the Aztecs also appeased the ancestral spirits, and they also believed that the spirits of the dead could come back to the world of the living. They often kept the skulls of deceased family members as a form of honoring. These skulls were decorated with jewelry and offerings and were considered sacred. Both the Mayas and the Aztecs already celebrated their own version of the Day of the Dead. The Mayans called it Hanal Pixin, and the Aztecs called it Miquelhuitantli. Just like nowadays, this was dedicated to honoring the deceased, by setting up altars with offerings of food, candles and other goods. The belief was that the spirits then would return to partake in the offerings, and be with their living relatives. In Catholicism, beliefs about ghosts and spirits are not explicitly defined or central to the faith. Catholicism revolves around the belief in one God, the Holy Trinity, and the life and teachings of Jesus Christ. The combination of these backgrounds makes Mexico a very interesting country with many different aspects from different religions and traditions. Some of the ghosts you can find in Mexico belong to the scariest ghosts you can imagine. One of these ghosts is a famous ghost known as La Llorona. The legend of La Llorona revolves around an indigenous Aztec woman named Maria. She is usually portrayed as a young and attractive woman that married a wealthy Spaniard, something that happened often in the colonial era. She is also known as the Crying Woman or the Wailer, and is a vengeful ghost who is said to roam near bodies of water. She is mourning her children that she drowned after she got jealous finding out her rich husband was cheating on her. Because of this, La Llorona is said to be cursed, condemned to roam the earth for all eternity, in search of her children, while crying out loud. People that claim to have seen her apparition say it's a frightening sight. With long, disheveled hair, covering her face, and dressed in white, she scares anyone that sees or hears her. While she is not typically portrayed as physically harming or attacking her victims, the fear associated with her stems from the psychological impact of encountering her. Encountering her is believed to be an omen of misfortune, and some versions of the legend suggest that hearing her cries may foreshadow tragedy or death. The legend of La Llorona serves as a cautionary tale and warns us against the consequences of jealousy, revenge, and the neglect of one's family. The stories about her have been used to scare children into behaving and listening to their parents. The earliest documentation of La Llorona is traced back to 1550 in Mexico City, but over time, the stories have become a part of pop culture, inspiring books, movies, and theater. Till this day she continues to be a prominent figure in Hispanic folklore, and continues to be a source of fascination and fear for many. La Planchada. Another good-looking female ghost revolves around a woman named Eulalia. One day, a girl named Eulalia became part of the nursing staff at the hospital. She was a good-looking girl with blonde hair, pale eyes, and she had a polite demeanor. From the day she started working in the medical institution, she showed great professionalism. She was always showing concern with the medical staff and with the sick poor people, to whom she was dedicated in a way that sometimes went beyond just duty. She was always very clean and tidy, and her white uniform was always perfectly ironed. Her life was quite perfect and calm. However, one day everything changed. One day the hospital introduced a new doctor, Dr. Joaquin, an intelligent, handsome man who came from a good family, but with a certain air of arrogance. He flirted with a lot of the nurses and he was quite egocentric. Despite this, after working together on patients, Eulalia fell in love with the new doctor, and after some months, she agreed to be his girlfriend, and at some point, he even proposed to her. However, she needed to wait for the wedding, since Joaquin first had to go to a 15-day seminar in another city. She was missing him a lot, and after about a week, another nurse approached her and told her the shocking news, that Dr. Joaquin had resigned from the hospital and went on a honeymoon trip with his new wife. The news left Eulalia completely frozen and heartbroken. Secretly she was hoping for him to come back and for the story not to be true. But after waiting for years, she became a cold, silent and gloomy woman that did not bond with any man ever again. One day, a new nurse arrived at the hospital. She was young and beautiful and wore a perfectly white uniform, just like Eulalia had when she was in the prime of her health. The rumor was spread that the new nurse was the reincarnation of the sick nurse, and she became known as La Planchada, meaning ironed, because of her perfectly ironed uniform. The story says that La Planchada was more than just a skilled nurse. She had supernatural abilities and could heal patients with a single touch. People that got taken care of by her experienced miraculous recoveries. However, her touch was said to be cold, and her eyes held a haunted look. Whether she was a ghost or a gifted nurse with a tragic past, her story continues to be told, sending shivers down the spine of those who hear it. El Cucuy. When it comes to ghosts that can scare people, especially kids, out of their wits, and send shivers down one's spine, it is hard to find one better than El Cucuy, the Mexican version of the boogeyman. Once upon a time a father was really angry at his kids, and he decided to lock them in a closet. After a while he decided to go to town and run some errands, but he forgot to take his kids out of the closet. When he came back he saw that his house caught on fire and that his kids had died. And because of this, the father was cursed. In disbelief, he started searching for his kids in many different closets. It has been years, but he never found them. The name El Cucuy originates from Spain, where the word coco means coconut. However, in certain uses, it also means the human head or skull. This name is in reference to the appearance of this ghost, who is described often to have a brown skin like the shell of a coconut. He is described as a scary creature that is small, deformed, and hairy all over. Just like the Western version of the boogeyman, he hides in closets and then proceeds to kidnap kids. Parents in Mexico would often discipline their kids with the threat of El Cucuy if they do not behave. El Cucuy has the power to shape-shift and take on the appearance of a shadow, allowing him to enter the rooms of children undetected. He then would proceed to watch them in silence for a long time, waiting for the right moment to strike. And when the moment is there, he would strike, carrying the kid off with him to his lair, that is located deep in the mountains. There, he would proceed to slowly eat the child. The El Cucuy story originated in Europe, and it came to Latin America during the period of European colonization. However, the story mingled with the local culture and became a different version of the original legend. La Pasqualita. Embalming corpses is a common practice around the world. In the Vatican you can view several popes, and in Moscow's Red Square, loads of people flock to see Lenin's preserved body. A lot of these corpses serve a historical purpose, but this is definitely not the case with La Pasqualita, a tourist attraction that has people wondering whether it's a mannequin or corpse. This mannequin first appeared in a bridal shop window, located in Chihuahua, in 1930. With a lifelike face, veins on her body and hands that have a lot of details, La Pasqualita is a more lifelike mannequin than any department store mannequin you've ever seen. After appearing for the first time, the locals were immediately struck, not only by the lifelike appearance, but more so by the close resemblance she had with the daughter of the shop owner, named Pasquala Esparza. The story says that the daughter was about to get married, but before she could, she was bitten by a black widow spider, and died on her wedding day. It wasn't long after her death that the mannequin appeared in the shop window. This gave birth to the idea that the mannequin in fact is the daughter of Pasquala Esparza. Over the years, a lot of customers have claimed that her eyes follow them as they walk around the store, or that when they turn their back on her, and they look again, that she has changed her position. Even the shop workers get nervous from her, breaking out in sweat every time they go near her. Another story claims that La Pasqualita indeed started out as a mannequin, but a French magician became so entranced by the mannequin that he would visit her window each night and bring her to life, dancing with her and bringing her around town, before returning her to the store each morning. It is improbable that an embalmed corpse could remain completely intact in the Mexican heat for 8 decades, but the current shop owner is aware that La Pasqualita is good for business. The Island of the Dolls. While we are at it, we continue the story with more lifelike dolls. But this story is not about a mannequin, but about actual dolls. Located in a chinampa of the Laguna de Tequila, you can find what is called Isla de las Muñecas, or in English, the Island of the Dolls. This small island is home to hundreds of terrifying dolls. Their severed limbs and decapitated heads can be found all over the place. The story behind this place is that a girl was found dead by Don Julian Santana Barrera, the caretaker of the island. The girl was drowned in a mysterious way, many years ago, and it is said that the dolls are possessed by her spirit. People claim that the dolls move their heads and arms, and open and close their eyes, haunting the people that visit the place. Other people claim that these dolls are whispering to each other, while other people who were on a boat near the island, said that the dolls lured them to come down to the island. Julian, the caretaker, was apparently haunted by the spirit of this little girl, and started hanging more dolls, in an attempt to please her spirit. Soon after he realized that the dolls were possessed by the spirits of dead girls, he continued to collect creepy dolls, hanging them over the entire island. People close to Julian said that it was as if Julian was driven by some unseen force that completely changed him. He was devastated by the fact he couldn't save the drowned girl. After 50 years of collecting dolls and hanging them all over the island, Julian himself was found dead, drowned in exactly the same spot as where the girl drowned. Some people believe Julian's spirit now also roams the island. El Charro Negro. The term charro traditionally refers to a Mexican horseman or cowboy and is often associated with the distinctive traditional attire and cowboy skills. However, El Charro Negro is a darker version of this character, and it is thought that he is a malevolent ghost cowboy, dressed in all black. He is said to haunt desolate roads and crossroads, appearing at night, when you are walking on your own. El Charro Negro is often associated with crossroads. This is because in folklore, crossroads are considered to be spaces where the boundaries between the living and the dead are believed to be thinner. Encounters with El Charro Negro are often considered ominous and foreboding, and they are usually seen as a bad omen. When you encounter El Charro Negro, it is believed to bring misfortune or death, but in some cases, he asks you to get on his horse, or you receive coins from him, and if this happens, he will give you good luck. In Latin America, there are many versions of this legend, but overall it is believed that he is the ghost of a deceased cowboy, who was wronged or suffered an unjust fate during his lifetime, and when he returns from the afterlife, he is seeking revenge. These are some of the most eerie ghost stories you can find in Mexico, and of course, there are more ghost stories to be found here. If you would be interested in these, please let me know. As we learned today, ghosts still play a significant role in the Mexican society, and probably this won't stop anytime soon. These stories are deeply rooted and come from an interesting past that embody the blend of indigenous, European, and other cultural influences that have shaped the country over centuries. Whether you believe in the supernatural or not, the tales of these ghosts continue to intrigue, captivate, and inspire us, inviting us to embrace the mysteries of the Mexican culture. And again, if you enjoyed this documentary, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button.